This comes around so quick every single year, but this is my first impressions and unboxing of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I used to do unboxings on the channel all the time and they would be an entire video, but there's just no point anymore. Like, you don't get anything in the box. I ended up getting this in space black. It's pretty much the same as graphite from last year, maybe slightly darker, but not like noticeable. You obviously don't get that adapter anymore, the power brick. You do get that USB-C cable, and in the UK we get an exclusive, which not everyone in the world gets when you buy this phone, the SIM pin. We also still get a SIM pin. And the first impressions of the phone are when you see that now cutout that you have at the top, the dynamic island. It seems weird. It seems weird not to see a notch on an iPhone, and everything's pretty much the same when you set this phone up. The Face ID setup has changed slightly, and here's me really getting it badly wrong for camera, but it's changed a little bit on how you do it. It just looks a bit different, but essentially it's still exactly the same. And actually, let's start with the big thing on this phone, and let's have a look at the Dynamic Island, as Apple calls it, the cutout on the top of the iPhone 14 Pro. It's not as useful yet as I think it is. I mean, you can do all of the almost like widgets at the top now, so it can help you multitask a bit. I mean, this is what it looks like when you have a call with someone or you're trying to do a timer, and it's kind of smart the way it can stretch and go smaller and all of that sort of stuff, but it's going to take time to get used to it 100%, because I'm not used to touching all of that at the top. I usually just swipe up and go back to the app that I was on, rather than going to the Dynamic Island and going into an app that you're on. But so far so good. The Dynamic Island is annoying to say, but it does look quite good. Obviously the cameras on this have got better. You've now got that 48 megapixel on the main, and obviously this is a first impression, so I've not had time to go out and have a little look at what the camera looks like yet, but from what I've seen online, it doesn't really change much unless you're going to shoot in ProRAW or RAW or whatever they call it now on the Apple phones. That's when you get that full 48 megapixel, otherwise it's still getting 12. And you can see they've got the action mode as well, which I didn't realize says here that it requires more light. So obviously you can't do this in dark situations, which is interesting. I don't remember that from the Apple event, but that's what you need to do if you want to use action mode. Obviously you've got that A16 Bionic in this phone, and I don't know whether it's just because it's a new phone, it seems quicker than last year, but if it is, it's kind of like marginal, it's really small, but I don't think anyone's going to notice that massive big upgrade at all. Of course, one of the new things is that always on display, and you can see it here, and everyone has said it, it's quite bright. And it is quite bright. Not bright enough for me to go, oh, I've not turned my phone off, but it's still fairly bright. You can have a look what it looks like when it goes from always on to the main display. And to be honest, the transition is smooth. It looks really nice. I mean, it's going to take time to get used to it on an iPhone. All these little things are going to take time to get used to on iPhones now, but I like it. I'm glad we finally got it. It's been like, what, 6-7 years since things like Samsung have had it, and of course if you want to, you can have the little complications on the front of it as well. I think the complications on iOS 16 make it look a little bit untidy, that lock screen, but the lock screen and that always on display is something that I actually think is really nice. If you have like a 13 Pro or 13 Pro Max, do you want to upgrade? I mean, probably not, unless you really want the always on display and you really want the dynamic island, but essentially they're the same phones. The cameras look pretty similar. Like, obviously I've not tested them side by side or anything like that. I can do, I will do, but at the moment, you know, they're just kind of the very similar phones. The cutout is actually quite cool. I mean, it's different. It takes time to kind of get used to it. I think it's going to be a while before I'm used to going to the top of the screen to check on a timer or go to a call, but everything now comes through that. You know this, you've seen other videos on it, but it's weird that actually everything really does go through it. It's not just people and reviewers talking about it. It all goes through that dynamic, horrible name, island. This is just that first impressions look at the iPhone 14 Pro, and it is just the first impressions, no testing. I've not done anything properly. I mean, it's only just finished downloading all my stuff from iCloud properly. But I wanted to get the video up and see what my first impressions were. Essentially, it's an iPhone. It's still an iPhone. Now with an always on display and a dynamic Island as well. Still, horrible name. Let me know what colour you get in the comments below. I kind of like this space black one. It looks alright. Kind of wish I'd gone for silver, but that's a problem for another day. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on as well, because I will do a full review of this iPhone in the next couple of weeks. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you do that, then I'll see you later.